The project 2025 is what people are currently talking about. This conversation has been going on for months now, but when Taraji P. Henson mentioned it at the BET Award, it literally spiked to the most searched thing on the internet because people are trying to know what this project is all about. Like all of the things listed in this project is very scary, and people are reacting and having a conversation about it. I saw so many comments of people saying this is what we should be talking about because the things listed in this project, about 1,000 pages, is scary, it's terrifying. It's like these people just want us to go and die. Some of the things listed in this project is the ban of abortion, to eliminate the Department of Education. There's not going to be anything like diversity. There's not going to be anything like financial aid grant whatsoever. They literally just want life very miserable for people. They literally want people to struggle and go deep down in the ground because there's nothing about this project 2025 that is okay at all. There are some people on the other hand saying they are just saying it is not going to go into effect, like it won't go into effect because it is just a very scary thing to subject their people to it. If you don't know what project 2025 is all about, you're going to find out in this video and as well get to know what people are saying. There are some people saying if you don't want to pack your bag and leave America right now, this should make you rethink your decision. It's a very serious conversation going on, and I noticed since the BET Award, people have been talking more about it. I have put together all of these clips, so without wasting much time, let's get right into it.
So you want to legalize federal misinformation and make it illegal for the FBI to interfere with this?
Yes.
You want to eliminate the Department of Education, the Department of Commerce, and deploy the military to any form of protest in America?
Yes.
It says here you want to allow the president to replace federal employees with who he deems loyalists that will agree to any bill he wants to pass.
Yes.
So you basically want to legalize a dictatorship.
Yes.
I'm not done talking! You basically want to legalize a dictatorship and take away the working class's ability to protest and fight for their rights, giving total power to the ones who have more money and not to the ones that made them rich.
Yeah, definitely, yes, yes.
So just a personal question. This would openly create new slaves. How are you agreeing to all of this?
Because I'm rich and none of this actually affects me, and some of it benefits me, even if it's to the detriment of the rest of the population.
So you're okay with oppressing the majority of America as long as it means more power for you and your team?
Yes, I'm definitely okay with that. My family's good.
But have you considered the families that aren't good? Also the fact that the wrong person in power could pass unethical bills and destroy America as a whole.
I just told you I'm rich. I don't care about any of this. Just pass the bill. Yes to everything. I got things to do.
So money has led to your abandonment of ethics, morality, and any sense of empathy for the rest of America. So you are a legal terrorist.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Well, I'm rich too, so whatever. I'll pass it.
If you cannot afford to move out of this country within the next year, I need you to take Project 2025 and Trump potentially getting reelected very seriously, because if it happens, Trump and his supporters have every intention of taking the livelihood away from a lot of people. If it's already hard for you to take care of your financial responsibilities, to take care of your family, if it's hard for you to find medical aid for yourself or people that you love, Trump is going to make that harder. They plan to put policies in place that will make it very hard for everyone to live in this country unless you have a six-figure salary. No one is exaggerating, and I understand that with the political climate that we're in, it can be very overwhelming, and I understand people that choose to ignore it. However, no one is exaggerating when they say our livelihoods are at stake. It's not going to be a rough 4 years. It's going to be a rough 20 years. It's going to be a rough 30 years, 40 years, because they're putting policies in place that are going to last.
I promise at some point I'm going to make a real Project 2025 video. It's going to be curated. It won't be too partisan. It'll be balanced, and I just don't have time right now. But so here are my unfiltered thoughts. When I was a kid, I was supposed to go bowling with my family. For some reason, we all lived in the same house. We'd go in some different cars sometimes. So I stayed back to go with my dad, and my brothers went with my mom. And right as they left, our basement flooded, and my mom didn't have her phone. So me and my dad actually stayed back because he's like, we got to take care of this. Couldn't reach out to my mom, so they went out and had a good time. And I remember, as he's cleaning up, and there was two mops. I'm sitting on the stairs, and I said to him, we weren't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to be in this position. We were supposed to be off bowling. This isn't fair, Now they get to have a good time, and this isn't the way it was supposed to go. This isn't the way today was supposed to go. And I remember he was in the middle of mopping, and he looked up and he looked over at me, and I was like 3rd grade or whatever. He looked at me and he said, "Hey, nobody cares. Grab a mop." And I think about that often. I think a lot of folks on the left are stuck in the "we weren't supposed to be here" box. We weren't supposed to be choosing between defending the very through line and lifeline of democracy and somebody like Joe Biden. These weren't supposed to be our options. We were supposed to have more. We were promised more. And I'm not going to tell you nobody cares, grab a mop. I'm not going to tell you to vote for Joe Biden. I'm not going to tell you to vote for Trump. I'm not going to tell you not to vote at all. I'm not going to tell you to vote third party. I don't think that that's my job. I think my job is just to talk about what the folks are proposing and what you get with the option that you choose. But one thing I will say is I actually think that Project 2025 is going to be more of a test of the left than anything. How precise can the left be in the face of grave danger? And to a certain extent, the left has always been in danger. But this is to a certain level I think the left hasn't seen before. If you don't know anything about Project 2025, do yourself a favor. Don't even listen to me talk about it. Don't listen to anybody on the left talk about it. Go listen to them talk about it. Go listen to the source. Listen to the Heritage Foundation and those folks, which I know a lot of folks over there personally, and that's going to be in the other videos that I talk about. Go listen to them talk about their vision for America. And I think that this will be a test of the left. How effectively can the left, I mean, I think everything is in there. Everything is in Project 2025, in those 900 pages, to rally anybody with a sane brain against Donald Trump and conservatives. But can the left do it? Will the left be focused? Will the left be distracted? Will the left be emotional? Will the left be stuck in a woe is me state? Will the left be blinded by the world that it was promised? That's how I see Project 2025. And we'll talk about this later.
You got to say about Project 2025. Have you heard of Agenda 47? It's the actual platform that Trump is going to push when he becomes president. It's listed on his official campaign website. Project 2025 is not to be found there. Supposed to make it illegal to be homeless. Has nothing to do with Trump. Trump has neither endorsed nor supported this platform, nor is it something that he's interested in. It's just another tool to fearmonger you and to just continue to vote for the same people over and over again and never breaking the cycle of chaos that we see within the black community. Uncle Tom. It makes sense, man. But listen, do you? Be mad at what you want to be mad at, but you ain't mad at Trump.
That was a funny little skit. But if you're going to gaslight, I would recommend trying a little harder. See, after the president of the Heritage Foundation went on Steve Bannon's radio show the other day, Steve Bannon, who worked in the Trump administration, to say that we're in the middle of the second American Revolution that'll be as bloodless as the left allows it to be, which rightfully freaked a bunch of people out. Trump and all the Trumpettes have been in damage control, and here comes Topher Town Music in order to sweep up the pieces and claim that this has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It's not his official policy proposal. As if you motherfuckers forgot that we're on the internet, somewhere where everything has a paper trail. Trump's main super PAC has been pushing a website that is farming the engagement off of Trump and Project 2025 to compare Biden and Trump's policies. Doesn't support Project 2025, but is sure fine being associated with it. Trump's chief of staff at the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, his associate director of presidential personnel, and his other associate director of presidential personnel are all on the Project 2025 team. Trump's national press secretary working on Project 2025, Heritage Foundation YouTube channel.
Matter of fact, Project 2025 was created by a conservative think tank named the Heritage Foundation.
Here's what Trump said about the Heritage Foundation.
Because you understand that our glorious heritage is the foundation of everything we hope to achieve. Which is why we need the help of the Heritage Foundation and everyone here tonight to get our tax cuts through the House, through the Senate.
John McEntee, the former director of the White House Presidential Personnel Office under Trump, is working as a senior advisor on Project 2025. That's this motherfucker, by the way. Just so we know.
Have you heard of Agenda 47?
Let's talk about Agenda 47. Agenda 47 is something that Trump has rolled out himself, but why doesn't he mention it much? Could that be because more than it being a string of solid policy proposals, it was more focused at getting him to win the Republican primary by shooting back at a lot of the stuff that was going on at the time, which is why nothing has been updated on the website since December of 2023. But let me say that you're right, and he has nothing to do with Project 2025, and he doesn't even want that to happen. Let's look at what the fuck he wants to happen. Trump has come out in favor of mass deportation, targeting people who are also legally living in the United States but harbor jihadist sympathies. Incoming constitution violation. Reinstating the Muslim ban. Incoming constitutional violation. Getting rid of birthright citizenship and ensuring that at least one parent is a full U.S. citizen before the child is eligible for a social security number anything, making it real funny for the majority of illegal immigrants who are actually overstaying their visas when somebody gets pregnant. By the way, straight constitutional violation. A 10% tariff on fucking everything. Funnily enough, because we're not going to have enough tax money after he extends tax cuts for rich people again, resulting in an extra $1,700 of costs for average American families. Cutting funding for schools with mask mandates, eliminating fucking teacher tenure, and promoting prayer in schools. Straight constitutional violation. Oh, and teaching patriotic education and giving Miss Johnson a Glock 9 to protect the classroom. The problem is, even if you were right, and everyone responsible for Project 2025 wasn't already immediately in connection with Donald Trump and the Trump administration, and if he didn't come out as a big fan of the Heritage Foundation, many of the things he said are also in Project 2025 and are also fucking horrible. And you're telling me it's not because Trump understands that this batshit crazy plan is a literal cancer to say out loud. It's actually because this is not what's going to happen, and all those motherfuckers who are rocking with him in the past are just going to magically vanish if he gets elected again. Let me put this in a little skit where I sound sane, despite the fact that everything about this is legitimately fucking insane. I'd appreciate it if you, as a black man, could stand on your anti-minority, anti-democracy beliefs, as opposed to saying, don't worry guys, nothing will happen, they're just trying to scare you. Because then at least I know you're not deliberately lying to cover up the fact that what you believe and represent is an oxymoron. Good day.
Because of Taraji P. Henson at the BET Awards the other night, Project 2025 is like one of the top things that are being Googled. And I'm sitting here contemplating politics right now. I normally don't talk about politics, but I'm considering it right now because also all over my FYP is people talking about Project 2025. And I really just have like a question about to what lengths people will go for money, because Project 2025 has obviously been going already. Like, we're already in it. The foundations of this plan have already been laid. People are already executing the plan, hence what the Supreme Court justices are doing and all of that. But what links, like, do we really believe that the Supreme Court justices are doing these things because they're receiving money for them? I mean, is it just money? Or is someone like holding their family hostage? I just can't imagine that you are in the highest court of the land and you're willing to just roll over so easily.
Imagine you go to bed early because you want to get some good sleep, and then you wake up to the country going to hell in a handbasket. This morning I woke up to 3 major decisions after I'd watched about 60 minutes of the debate yesterday, so I'll get into that. But first, let's talk about these 3 major decisions. In a decision 6-3, the Supreme Court got rid of something called the Chevron deference. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm the most well-versed on this, but as somebody who works as a civil engineer, so knows a lot about the EPA and kind of that environmental aspect of things, learning that this court essentially decided that now no longer these major agencies like the EPA, the regulatory bodies for the tech industry for healthcare, now none of those agencies get to make the ultimate deciding decisions when it comes to what is let's say an oil spill happens, the EPA gets involved. That is no longer going to be the case. This allowed federal agencies to interpret the laws and then be able to make decisions based off of the priceless amount of knowledge that these individuals have in their specific fields. This now puts the court system playing a bigger role in making all of these decisions. And I want us to understand that this does not necessarily mean that these individuals have knowledge in these fields that they're making these decisions on, but it's just up to them now. Whoever is in the court, whether or not it's state Supreme Court or it's the national Supreme Court. There was also another case that I feel like is being largely overshadowed because both the banning of homelessness as well as the Chevron deference are very large cases, but January 6th supporters now get to pretty much go free. A lot of the cases that were put up against these people who literally stormed into the Capitol and then tried to unalive and grape various members of Congress, those people now get to go free. And I want us to remember that Cop City activists stood in a forest demanding that millions of dollars not be spent to build a literal police training ground and lost their lives and are now facing multiple RICO charges against them. And Donald Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol to literally upend democracy in this country get to go free. They decided to say that some of them were improperly charged, whatever the fuck that means. Because I promise you, if any other demographic of people went and stormed that Capitol, this wouldn't be a conversation. And finally, the Supreme Court has decided that if you are unhoused and cities decide, this now becomes a state decision, states get to make this and decide, they can decide to arrest you or fine you if you are somebody who is sleeping outside because you are unhoused. But all of this happening right after we had one of the most abysmal debates that I've ever seen. I don't even know what to say, because it's like, what really can you say? That was a shit show. We're fucked. We're fucked. And what's most astonishing to me is that there's still people who aren't paying attention. There's still people who don't give a fuck. And I don't know how to reconcile with that. I don't know how to live in a society where it is nearly impossible to get anybody to give a fuck. And the few people who do give a fuck are constantly trying to sound the alarm. And then when shit actually fully blown hits the fan, that's when everybody's like, well, why didn't anybody tell us? It's because y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all don't care. And I've been trying so hard not to cry, because I cried when I saw the decision made about the Supreme Court as it relates to people who are unhoused. But in the hundreds of millions of people that live in this country, this is the best we can do. These two men who literally are using us to play games. They are literally playing with our lives, and there are still people capping for both of these men. Like, let's just call it like we see it. Donald Trump won that debate. Doesn't matter that he was spewing lies the entire time. Doesn't matter, because that's what his base already knows him to do. That's what they believe in him to do, is to continue to spew lies. But I would genuinely not be shocked if there were Joe Biden supporters who saw that and decided not to vote for that man. Why? Because they just saw a man be at times incapable of understanding what the question was so severely that he would just say things and then move on. There were multiple times where he had the opportunity to really go after the things Donald Trump was saying, and he just left it there. At one point, Dana Bash had to actually kind of feed him a question which was about abortion, and Donald Trump was incorrectly stating that there were all these late-term abortions that were occurring, and Joe Biden didn't even come at him for it until Dana Bash again asked the question directly to Joe Biden about this. Like, all of the things we're hearing about Project 2025, and Project 2025 just, I feel like, as of today, just set its roots in. There are decisions being made on the federal level that are going to impact all of us, that are things that have been written out in Project 2025 as the stepping stones to it. And we are watching it happen under a Democrat. And instead of everything in his power within this last year that not even year that he has, this last couple months that he has, because I don't know how Joe Biden comes back from this, he should be doing everything in his power to codify whatever he needs to do, whatever he needs to codify to make sure that Project 2025 can't take root. But is he going to?
Last night at the BET Awards, Taraji mentioned Project 2025, and so many people have been researching exactly what that is. One of the initiatives of Project 2025 is to completely gut the Federal Department of Education. And it got me to thinking, a lot of people don't even understand how the government is structured and what departments belong to it. I talk a lot on my page about the departments of labor in different states, but there are so many more departments. So let's start with the basic definition of what exactly is the government. The government is an entity whose job it is to govern a group of people. And our government is broken up into 3 levels: the federal government, the state government, and for the purpose of this video, the local government. This is different than the branches of government, such as the executive, judicial, or legislative branches. Just wanted to point that out. So going back to how the government governs its people, it's broken up into departments, commissions, courts, parties, etc. And these departments are given power, funding, and responsibilities to serve you. For example, HUD vouchers don't just pop up out of nowhere. It is within the power, funding, and responsibility to the Department of Welfare to be able to help its low-income individuals and families secure stable housing. So when we think about issues like homelessness in the USA, sometimes it's better to look towards the Department of Welfare to solve that, rather than politicians who are in commissions, departments, or levels of government where they don't actually have an effect on that problem. And as a citizen, the first place that you should look when you need shit is the departments who have the power, funding, and responsibility to serve you. That's it. That's all I got to say on it. But look up Project 2025 also.
What do you guys think about Project 2025? Have you been reading about it? Have you as well been, searching and just trying to get more information about Project 2025? I see a lot of people saying and telling people to go read up about Project 2025, if it's going to go into effect or not. Just read about it and educate yourself about it, just so that if it happens, you're not shocked at all. There's literally nothing in the project that is going to be in favor of minorities. They just literally want to make life very difficult for people that are already struggling to even get by to buy food and get by to even pay their rent and even provide shelter, clothing for themselves on a daily basis. They want to make it more bad for them. They want to make it more horrible for them, and it's not nice at all. People are even more confused as to who to vote for, and this is the reason why the creator in this speech was talking about how he's not going to tell people to vote for Biden or vote for Trump or vote for the others. He's just going to talk about the things you will get from the choices that you make. This person said, Biden is far from perfect, but the alternative is a soul-crushing demagogue that would dismantle our democracy all the way up the ballot. Another one said, I'm never having kids if this is what the USA is going towards in the next election. You guys, it is scary. Hope this does not go into effect. Every single thing being mentioned is very scary. This person said, genuinely, what do we do? I hear people saying vote blue, but I support Palestine, so no. And every time people talk about third parties, a lot of people say no and won't even try. So, like, what do we do? I feel hopeless. And this is a question that so many people have as well. I see questions like this in the comment section, to the point where people who are even addressing this situation, who are talking about the elections, the debates, are even mentioning that they are not going to say vote for this person or vote for this person. You just need to put your head down and make your decision. Another person said, Project 2025 is horrifying, and I don't understand why more people aren't discussing it. And this is the reason why I'm sharing with you guys, because I've seen so many creators like on my FYP, for the past 24 hours, literally talking about it. This person asks, please, my main question is this bad? How is it going to make the world better? How is it going to change the world? Like, is it good or bad? Or am I just paranoid? Like, will it cause something bad? It is actually very, very bad if you pay attention to the things listed. This person replied to that comment and said, this is very bad. It will only serve the rich and white men. There is reason to be scared, but don't be overly paranoid unless it goes into effect. I am hoping that it will be fought. A lot of people are saying it won't go into effect. People should stop being paranoid. People should stop being scared and all of that. We really hope it does not go into effect. Another one said, we have been working our butt off just to live, and then just for it to get harder and harder, especially for women. Yeah, taking their right of abortion is actually a very scary and crazy one. Yeah, what else happened? Most races are going to get deported. So if you're not white, like 100% white race, pretty sure that there's a lot of people leaving America, and it sucks. The last one I have here said, Project 2025 will never happen because it is 95% unconstitutional. But that doesn't make it any less scary that people think that way. The things listed are scary. They're terrifying. Yeah, it's enough to get people paranoid. Hope it does not go into effect, because those things written there is very scary. Let me hear what you guys think about this whole conversation. Have you been reading on it? What is your take on it as well? What do you have to add to what these people are saying about Project 2025? Let's continue the discourse in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next one.